Okay, hopefully you can see my screen sharing that I'm sharing.
Yes.
Okay, so Dhruva Maharaj left, and then his son Utkal was not very inclined to rule the kingdom. Prabhupada says he was a Mahabhagavat, or he exhibited the qualities of a Mahabhagavat. He could see Krishna in everyone's heart, the super soul, and he was fully satisfied and detached. So, so we'll read some verses. What happens then? Jada andha badhironmata mukakritir atanmati lakshita pathi balanam prashantarchir ivanalah. Utkal appeared to the less intelligent persons on the road to be foolish, blind, dumb, deaf, and mad, although actually he was not so. It's like Jad Bharat or Rishabdev or even Shukdev Goswami. He remained like fire covered with ashes without blazing flames. In order to avoid contradiction, botheration, and unfavorable situations created by materialistic persons, a great saintly person like Jada Bharat or Utkal remains silent. He doesn't want to get into any fight or anything, contradiction. He very silently practices his bhakti, his devotional service, and doesn't bother with any any person outside. Like the less intelligent consider such saintly persons to be mad, deaf, or dumb. Factually, an advanced devotee avoids speaking with persons who are not in devotional life. But to those who are in devotional life, he speaks in friendship, and he speaks to the innocent for their enlightenment. That's like the Madhyamadikari, right? So, Ishware tadadineshu balisheshu dvishastucha.
प्रेम मैत्री कृपा अपेक्षा यह कृति समध्यम.
By reciting the verses, then we can remember them also. So I'm just. For all practical purposes, the whole world is full of non devotees. The more you use your verses, the more you will remember those verses, right? It says, use it or lose it. Sometimes they say like that. So, more we speak the verses, then the more we hear, then we will be able to remember them. So, for all practical purposes, the whole world is full of non devotees. And so, one kind of very advanced devotee avoids them by appearing before them as deaf and dumb. Such an advanced devotee is called a Bhajananandi, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Those who are Goshtianandis, however, preach to increase the number of devotees. But even such preachers also avoid opposing elements who are unfavorably disposed towards spiritual life. So Goshtianandi is a Bhajananandi who a Goshtianandi is a Bhajanandi
Who
who
preaches?
preaches. So we have to do our bhajan very nicely, and then we have to share Krishna consciousness with others. So even preachers avoid that those who are unfavorably disposed. So they are very careful not to get entangled or anything like that. So they just are very very careful with their spiritual life. They don't want anybody to interfere and spoil the spiritual life. So like that. So they are kind of aloof. But with devotees, they will talk because they are interested in the subject matter. So okay, that's what it said in this verse. Any comments? Anything you'd like to say? Okay.
So we cannot evaluate the advancement of the person by the externals.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like that. Yeah. Externally, they may be appearing very crazy,
Yeah.
yeah, mad, deaf, or dumb. So internally, they may be very advanced, and sometimes it says it takes one to know one. So when uh, King Yadu was in the forest and he saw this Avadut Brahmana who was an incarnation of
Dattatreya.
Dattatreya, he could recognize, oh, this Brahmana is a very advanced devotee. So he was also very advanced. He could recognize also. So
Yeah, so yesterday Mowgli Prabhu was saying that whenever some Babaji would come, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would not pay him obeisance. Bhakti Vinod Thakur would do that, and that Babaji would say, "Why is your son not paying obeisances to me?" And he says he doesn't like Sahajiyas. But when Gaur Kishore Das Babaji came, he could understand this is elevated soul, and he could also see him in tears sitting in the class of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So he understood that yeah, I want to take initiation from him. He's advanced. So
yeah, correct. And of course, there are symptoms of advancement also. We say Shantirapyartha Kalatvam Viraktir Manashunyata Asha Bandha Samutkantha Nama Gane Sadaruchi Asakti Guणाख्याने Priti Sthale इत्यादयो
अनुभवस्य जट भवङ्कुरञ्जनम्.
Jatavakurajane. So he doesn't like to waste time and so on. I was yesterday reading about Prabhupada telling about wasting time. Let me share this. He said we should be very careful of time. So try to become devotee of Krishna. Our Krishna consciousness movement is teaching this philosophy. We have got so many books. Whoever comes here must read the books. Devotee, the inmates of the temple, outsider. Then you will understand what is Krishna consciousness. Or you should chant Hare Krishna only. Don't talk rubbish things, waste time. That is not good. A single moment is so valuable that you cannot purchase it by millions of dollars. Ayushya Shana Ekopi.
न लभ्ये स्वर्णकोटिभिः न च निरर्थकं नीति काचहनिस्ततोदिका.
Now today is 25th May, 4 o'clock, gone. You cannot bring it back. 4 o'clock, 25th May 1975. He was giving a class in Hawaii, Honolulu. If you want to get it back again by paying millions of dollars, it will not be possible. Therefore, we should be very careful of our time. Time once wasted, you cannot get it back returned. Better utilize this time. The best utilization is to chant Hare Krishna or think of Krishna, worship Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness movement. So, of course, we we may not have that much interest to engage 24/7. So, if there is not so much interest, then yeah, but we have to build that interest so slowly and gradually. More we do, more we will like to do. So sometimes there is some free time, then we should chant Hare Krishna. Just with or without bead bag, any time you can chant Hare Krishna. So or remember Krishna as Prabhupada says, or worship Krishna. So then by doing that more and more, then our attachment will increase. And we'll feel good. Oh, I used my time very nicely. You know, I didn't waste my time. Because after you waste your
Also,
time, huh? Yeah.
Prajalpa is also bhakti vinashyati. It's taking away the taste. So you will have taste for talking about mundane things, but you will not have taste for chanting the holy name because you are corrupting your tongue by speaking everything else.
Yes. So yeah. So I was saying that yeah, if we do something, it's a practice. Then practice makes perfect. So we should be practiced to chant Hare Krishna like that. And then otherwise, if we waste time, then afterwards we think, oh, why did I waste my time? But the time is wasted; it's gone. So So that's why we have to be ideally all the time chant and hear Hare Krishna, or read some books or do some service like that all the time as much as possible. Matvatam jadam unmatam kulavriddha samantrinah vatsaram bhupatim chakrur yavi yamsam prame sutam. So we have to try and cry, right? So we can't, we're not able to chant nicely or something, not getting taste, then we can cry, Krishna, I'm not getting taste. Please give me some taste for serving you, because I'm hankering for some taste. If I don't get taste in your service, then I will get taste in other things. So, Krishna, please give me some taste. So, like that, to try. So, first of all, we have to make a sankalpa. We have to have the right desire. So, before chanting, we say, today I'm going to chant very nicely. And then I'm going to hear, I'm going to chant, I'm going to be in the right mood, I'm going to chant very nicely. And then you begin chanting and you remember your resolve. And then, mind goes or something, other thoughts come and mind goes and like that. Then that's the time you say, Krishna, please help, please help, please help. This is my resolve. I want to stick to it. Please help, like that. So, more we seek help, the more we get help. And it's an internal thing, prayer, right? We have to pray and we have to cry, Krishna, I'm very, 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 it's not possible for me on my own to do anything. You please help. Whatever I'm able to do is also your mercy only. So, in this way, depend on Krishna. For this reason, the ministers and all the elderly members of the family thought that Utkal to be without intelligence and in fact mad. Thus his younger brother named Vatsara, the son of Brahmi, was elevated to the royal throne and he became the king of the world. So the elder son was no good for ruling the kingdom, so his younger brother became the king. It appears that although there was monarchy, it was not at all autocracy. There were senior family members and ministers who could make changes and elect the proper person to the throne, although the throne could be occupied only by the royal family. In modern days also, wherever there is monarchy, sometimes the ministers and elderly members of the family select one member from the royal family to occupy the throne in preference to another. Okay, so anyway, now we have democracy in many parts of the world. So Swar Vithir Vatsaras Yitsta Shishta Bharya Suta Sad Atmajan Pushparnam Digmaketum Cha Isham Urjam Vasumjayam. King Vatsara had a very dear wife whose name was Swarvithi, and she gave birth to 6 sons named Pushparna, Digmaketu, Isha, Urja, Vasu, and Jaya. So Vatsara, this is the dynasty of Dhruva Maharaj. So Vatsara's wife is mentioned here as Ishta, which means worshipable. In other words, it appears that Vatsara's wife had all good qualities. For example, she was always faithful and obedient and affectionate to her husband. She had all good qualities for managing household affairs. If both an husband and wife are endowed with good qualities and live peacefully, then nice children take birth, and thus the whole family is happy and prosperous. So they were not quarreling. They had nice family life. They had 6 children, and they were all maybe worshipping Krishna. So Pushparna, so he's now talking about the Pushparna, who's the son of Vatsara and Brahmi, had 2 wives named Prabha and Dosha. Prabha had 3 sons named Pratar, Madhyandinam, and Sayam. Okay, So this is going to go like this, I think, the dynasty. So yeah. Dosha had three sons, Pradosha, Nishita, and Vyushta. Vyushta's wife's name was named Pushkarni, and she gave birth to a very powerful son named Sarvateja. Sarvateja's wife Akuti gave birth to a son named Chakshusha, who became the sixth Manu at the end of the Manu millennium. Nadwala, wife of Chakshusha Manu, gave birth to following faultless sons Puru, Kutsa, Trita, Dyumna, Satyavan, Rita, Vrata, Nishtoma, Atiratpura, Pradyumna, Shibi, and Ulmuka. Of the 12 sons, Ulmuka begot 6 sons in his wife Pushkarini. They were all very good sons, and their names were Anga, Sumana, Khyati, Kratu, Angira, and Gaya. The wife of Anga, Sunita, gave birth to a son named Veena. I lost track of all the who was very crook. We can make a flow chart. Like the saintly king Anga was very disappointed. So the wife of Anga, Sunita, gave birth to a son named Vena. So this Prithu Maharaj is coming in this dynasty, looks like. So saintly king Anga was very disappointed. So Anga had a son named Vena, and Vena had a very bad character. And he left home and kingdom and went out to the forest. He was very disappointed to have a son like Vena, who was like a gunda. And so Anga, he just left home and went to the forest. My dear Vidura, when the great sages curse, their words are invincible as a thunderbolt. So Vena was cursed because he was not a proper king, and so the Brahmanas, they cursed him. Thus, when they cursed King Vena, out of anger, he died. After his death, since there was no king, all the rogues and thieves flourished. So when you're a big thief, then small thieves are, kept in control. But when the big thief died, then all the small thieves, they started their activities. The kingdom became unregulated, and all the citizens suffered greatly. On seeing this, the great sages took the right hand of Vena as a churning rod. And as a result of their churning, Lord Vishnu, in his partial representation, made his advent as King Prithu, the original emperor of the world. This is amazing that how from the dead body of Vena, the right hand was taken as a churning rod, and then Prithu Maharaj appeared from that. Monarchy is better than democracy because if monarchy is very strong, the regulatory principles within the kingdom are upheld very nicely. Even 100 years ago in the state of Kashmir in India, the king was so strong that if a thief were arrested in this kingdom and brought before him, the king would immediately chop off the heads of the thief. It sounds brutal. As a result of this severe punishment, there was practically no theft cases within the kingdom. Even if someone left something on the street, no one would touch it. The rule was that the things could be taken away only by the proprietor and that no one else would touch them. In the so-called democracy, whenever there is a theft case, the police come and take note of the case, but generally the thief is never caught, nor is any punishment offered to him. As a result of incapable government, at the present moment, thieves, rogues, and cheaters are very prominent all over the world. Okay. Vidura inquired from the sage Maitreya. So the conversation is going. Maitreya is describing the descendants of Dhruva Maharaja, and Vidura is asking a question. My dear Brahmana, King Anga was very gentle. He had high character and was a saintly personality and lover of Brahminical culture. How is it that such a great soul got a bad son like Vena, because of whom he became indifferent to his kingdom and left it? So he's saying that he was of good character. So how did such a good father get a son like Vena? In family life, a man is supposed to live happily with father, mother, wife, children. But sometimes under certain conditions, a father, mother, wife, child or wife becomes an enemy. It is said by Chanakya Pandit that a father is an enemy when he is too much in debt. A mother is an enemy if she marries for a second time. A wife is an enemy when she is very beautiful. And a son is an enemy when he is a foolish rascal. In this way, when a family member becomes an enemy, it is very difficult to live in family life or remain a householder. Generally, such situations occur in the material world. Therefore, according to Vedic culture, one has to take leave of his family members just after his 50th year so that the balance of his life may be completely devoted in search of Krishna consciousness. That's Vanaprastha. So, Grihastha life is not eternal. Vanaprastha, that's how it was before. Or that means like now more Krishna service than anything else. Vidura also inquired, how is it that the great sages who are completely conversant with religious principles desired to curse King Vena? So he asked one question, well, how did Anga, who was such a great and noble king, get a bad son like Vena? And why did the sages curse Vena? Because they were acquainted with the religious principles, who himself carried the rod of punishment and thus awarded him the greatest punishment. So why did they curse if they knew the religious principles? Of course they cursed because he was not behaving properly. It is understood that the king is able to give punishment to everyone, but in this case it appears that the great sages punished him. The king must have done something very serious, otherwise how could the great sages, who are supposed to be the greatest and most tolerant, still punish him in spite of their elevated religious consciousness? It appears also that the king was not independent of the Brahminical culture. Above the king was the control of the Brahmanas, and if needed, Brahmanas would dethrone the king or kill him, not with any weapon, but with the mantra of Brahma Shap. The Brahmanas were so powerful that simply by their cursing, one would immediately die. So even Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj. He was only a 9-year-old boy or something like that. So Prabhupada is saying, yeah, they can curse. So why did they curse if they are supposed to be tolerant? And why did they curse King Vena? He must have done something very bad. So like that, it is the duty of all citizens in the state never to insult the king, even though he sometimes appears to have done something very sinful. Because of his prowess, the king is always more influential than all other ruling chiefs. According to Vedic civilization, the king is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is called Naranarayan, indicated that Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in human society as the king. It is etiquette that neither a Brahmana nor a Kshatriya king is ever insulted by the citizens. Even though a king appears to be sinful, the citizens should not insult him. But in the case of Vena, it appears that he was cursed by Nara Devatas. Therefore, it was concluded that his sinful activities were very grievous. So Vidura requested Maitreya, my dear Brahmana, you are well conversant with all subjects, both past and future. Therefore, I wish to hear from you all the activities of King Vena. What happened in the life of King Vena? Why was he cursed? I am your faithful devotee, so please explain this. Vidura accepted Maitreya as his spiritual master. A disciple always inquires from the spiritual master, and the spiritual master answers the question, provided the disciple is very gentle and devoted. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that by mercy of the spiritual master, one is blessed with the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasad. The spiritual master is not inclined to disclose all secrets of transcendent science unless the disciple is very submissive and devoted. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the process of receiving knowledge from the spiritual master entails submission, inquiry, and service. Which verse is that?
तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेव्य उपदक्षिन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः.
Okay. So, pariprashna, but with seva. Tadvidhi pranipat means surrender. Pranipatena. Tadvidhi pranipatena. Pariprashnena sevaya. Updikshanti te jnanam. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So you have to approach in a submissive, surrendered mood and submissive inquiry with the service attitude. Prabhupada says submission, inquiry, and service. Submission is pranipatena, pariprashnena is inquiry, and seva is the service. Okay, so let's see. We can read one more. Sri Maitreya replied, "My dear Vidura, once the great King Anga arranged to perform the great sacrifice known as Ashwamedh." So now he's telling the history of Anga, Vena, and then Prithu. All the expert Brahmanas present knew how to invite the demigods, but in spite of their efforts, no demigods participated or appeared in that sacrifice. So Anga Maharaj was performing a sacrifice, and the demigods were supposed to come, but nobody came. A Vedic sacrifice is not an ordinary performance. The demigods used to participate in such sacrifices, and the animals sacrificed in such performances were reincarnated with new life. So, animal Ashwamedha, horse sacrifice, right? But the animal was given a new life, or a higher form, or human body like that. In this age of Kali, there are no powerful Brahmanas who can invite the demigods or give renewed life to animals. Formerly, the Brahmanas, well conversant in Vedic mantras, could show the potency of mantras, but in this age, because there are no such Brahmanas, all such sacrifices are forbidden. The sacrifice in which horses were offered was called Ashwamedh. Sometimes cows were sacrificed, Gavalamba, not for eating purposes, but to give them new life in order to show the potency of the mantra. Ashwamedha Gavalambhyam Palapaitrikam Sannyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Suto Patim Kalo Vivarjayat. Right? What is that verse? 5 things are forbidden, Kali. So then why Prabhupada, why did he give sannyas? So what is the answer? Hare Krishna. Anybody like to say?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Why did Prabhupada give sannyas?
Sannyas, because what's mentioned is the Ekadandi sannyas is forbidden.
Mayavad sannyas, yes. So 5 things are forbidden. Ashwamedham Gavalambam, Sannyasam Palapaitrikam, Devarena Sutotpatim, Kalo Pancha Vivarjayat. Ashwamedham, horse sacrifice, cow sacrifice, sannyas, that's the Mayavad sannyas. Palapaitrikam, offering of meat to the forefathers in the Shraddha ceremony. Devarena Sutotpatim, to beget children by husband's brother, and these are 5 things that are forbidden. Okay, so Prabhupada is saying that we don't have qualified Brahmanas, so we cannot do all these things now. Sometimes cows, but to give them new life. In this age, therefore, the only practical yagna is Sankirtan yagna, or chanting of Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours a day. So chant Hare Krishna 24 hours a day. Okay, we'll stop here with this Srimad Bhagavatam. We can read some prayers. Let me see which prayers we should read. There's a whole book on prayers from the Bhagavatam, so we'll read some prayers from the Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj's prayers are so many, 42 verses, yes. Demigods of the prayers. Okay. Just pick up anywhere. Let's see. But I want to read some very. Okay, prayers by Prahlad Maharaj. 7, 10, 2 to 10. In the 10th chapter of the 7th canto. There are 8 verses, so we can read. Let me open this. 7 and 2. Okay. So this is after Lord Nrsimhadev offers benedictions to Prahlad Maharaj. So what Prahlad Maharaj is saying. Just we have read this before many times, so we'll just go through it and then you can comment. Shri Prahlad Uvacha Mamam Pralobhyat Patya Saktam Kameshu Varai Tat Sangha Bhito Nirvinno Mumukshustvam Upashritah Mam Pralobhyo Patya. Ma means not. Don't, please do not. Pralobhya, allure me. Lobh is saying, please do not tempt me. Utpatya, because of my birth in a demonic family. Shaktam Kameshu Tair Varai. Shaktam, I am already attached. Kameshu, to material enjoyment. By all those benedictions. So, by giving me all those benedictions, Vara, don't please tempt me. I'm already born in a demonic family, so I'm naturally attached to material enjoyment. Tat Sango Bhito Nirvinno. Tat Sangha Bhita. Bhita means afraid. I am afraid of such material contempt, association. Nirvinno, completely detached from material desires. Mumukshas Tvam Upashita. Mumukshu means to be liberated, desiring liberation. Tvam, into your lotus feet. Upashrita, I have taken shelter. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I am naturally attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, kindly do not tempt me with these illusions. I am very much afraid of material conditions and I desire to be liberated from materialistic life. It is for this reason I have taken shelter of your lotus feet. So he says, I have come to you, I have taken shelter of you because I am very afraid of this materialistic way of life and material consciousness. So to become free from that material consciousness, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet.
In the previous chapter, he had said that I'm not at all afraid of this material condition.
Yeah, correct. It's contradictory, right? He says, Naivod Vijay Paradurataya.
Yeah. For wherever I stay, I'm absorbed in thoughts of your activities and glories. My concern is only for the fools and rascals.
Yeah. So how do we reconcile? I think maybe he's thinking very vulnerable himself. Sometimes he feels, sometimes he cries, sometimes he laughs, sometimes he likes. So the devotees have different emotions at different times. So maybe now he's feeling, because also all, and Nrsingadev has already like told him you ask for whatever benediction. So he's saying that, so he's feeling that I can be deviated very easily if you ask me like this, if you tempt me like this. So
Yeah. So devotee has healthy fear of Maya. So as Prabhupada was saying, he's always praying, Krishna, please don't let me fall down.
yes. So like that he was, and all, now he has been tempted by the Lord himself. So he has given him practically a blank check and said, whatever you want to fill in the amount, you can, whatever you want to ask. So he's, yeah. So let's see what Prabhupada, there is something there is talking about. Prahlad Maharaj, however, was detached from all material enjoyment. He therefore took shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nrsingadev. So he was very careful in this regard. The Lord is saying, I will give you whatever you want. And he's saying, no. Okay. So, next words. And in this way, he's showing, like, I mean, he will say that you have sent me to show how a pure devotee is, something like that. There is a prayer. Then he says, Britya Lakshan Jigyasur. Britya Lakshan. Britya means servant, Lakshan means symptoms. Jigyasur. Desiring to exhibit the symptoms of a pure devotee. Bhaktam Kameshva. Bhaktam Kameshvachodayat. He says, I've been sent in this material world to show the symptoms of a pure devotee. I don't know how he says like that, but Bhavan Sansara Bijeshu Hridaya Granthishu Prabhu. So, Bhavan, your Lordship, Sansara Bijeshu, the root cause of being present in the material world. Hridaya Granthishu, desire for material enjoyment. O my worshipable Lord. O my worshipable Lord, because the seed of lusty desires, which is the root cause of material existence, is within the core of everyone's heart. You have sent me to this material world to exhibit the symptom of a pure devotee. So, Prahlad Maharaj, one time he's saying that, now he's saying, you have sent me in this world to exhibit the symptoms of a pure devotee. Okay.
Yeah, in the previous verse he says, I'm naturally attached to material enjoyment.
Correct. On the contrary, by his personal example, he showed the symptoms of a pure devotee. In other words, the Lord himself has no desire to send his pure devotee to this material world, nor does a devotee have any purpose. So he is a pure devotee who has come from the spiritual world, looks like. Prabhupada says Nitya Siddha, who was a Nitya Siddha, a Mahabhagavad devotee. But we know in his past life he had a quarrel and all these things. And then he became Prahlad, but is a Nitya Siddha devotee, as Prabhupada is saying here. So he's saying,
In other place, he said that he's a mixed siddha, or because same as Narad Muni, because Narad Muni also had a previous life of a maid servant. Kripa Siddha and this
Sadhana Siddha.
Nitya Siddha is a mixed. Another purport he writes.
Sadhana Siddha and Kripa Siddha. Yeah. Is a combination of both. Okay. So he says, you have sent me to show how a pure devotee is. So, okay. Then he's saying, नान्यथा ते खिलो गुरु घटते करुणात्मनः यस्ता आशिषा आशस्ते न सबृत्य स वै वणिक na anyatha, not otherwise, akhila guru, O supreme instructor of the entire creation. Gateta, such a thing can happen. Karuna Atmana, the supreme person who is extremely kind to his devotees. Yaha, any person, te from you, ashisha, ashish, ashirvad, material benefits, asaste, desires. Na sabhritya savaivani. I am not such a person who wants to get vanik. Vanik means a merchant wants to get some material profit for exchange of service. Otherwise, O my Lord, O Supreme Instructor of the entire world, you are so kind to your devotee that you could not induce him to do something unbeneficial for him. So Krishna will not allow the devotee to do something that is harmful for him. Sometimes he allows to make the devotee humble, and sometimes also to make the devotee humble, and so that the devotee takes more shelter of Krishna. So he creates a situation to bring the devotee closer to him. So that is why you are so kind to your devotee that you could not induce him to do something unbeneficial for him. On the other hand, one who desires some material benefit in exchange for devotional service cannot be your pure devotee. Indeed, he is no better than a merchant who wants profit in exchange for service. So he is saying, I am not a varnik because I don't want to serve you to get something in return, material thing. Of course, that's pure devotee. So, but there are mixed devotees. So, akama sarva kamava, that is also there. All right, so we will continue this. We have how many verses? Till 10 verses. So we will continue 7:45. If anybody like to say anything, we will continue from this. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, here it says that you have said that Krishna is all auspicious, right? He is doing all the beneficial thing for the devotees. Sometimes Krishna act like a physician, right? According to the disease and severity of the disease, Krishna gives the medicine. The purpose is only the same, but how the jivas can come back to him. Sometimes jiva has to go through the unfavorable, undesirable situation, but at the end we realize that this is for all good for the jivas, because the purpose is because the real problem is to get out of this birth, death, old age, and disease situation. And one can, when overcome with all the situation, then realize that yes, Krishna did all with the purpose, because we cannot understand Krishna's plan, right? So yeah.
That's why we say kam sarva kam moksha kam udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Even if you have a material desire, you should go to Krishna, because Krishna will evaluate if that thing is good for you, then he will give it to you. Not like demigods who can give things that can be detrimental for you. And a mother would not give poison to the child if the child says, give me poison.
Bhagavad Gita also says that, right? There are 4 kinds of people who approaches the Lord.
Yeah, and sometimes Krishna, if he detects pride, then he makes an arrangement to, like Indra, so humble. So that is also good. Right? So
Right. He might give something, then that would give us suffering, and then we will say, Krishna, I don't want this. And then our consciousness is improved, then we don't ask Krishna. Rather, we say, as Prithu Maharaj would say, Krishna, as a father, you know what the child needs, so you give me whatever you think is best for me, because I am less intelligent. I don't know what is good for me.
Yes. So, depending on Krishna. All right. So, anything else?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I can say about mantra 2 from Ishopanishad.
Yes.
Okay, so the mantra 2 of the Ishopanishad is Kurvan eveha karmani jiji vishes chatam samaha evam tvai nanyet nosti na karma lipyate nare. So the translation is one may aspire to live for 100 of years if he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the laws of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. So basically, here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada will explain, like, based on translation, that it is nothing wrong, like if we want to live a long life, but we should live in such a way that our consciousness should allow us to not get entangled in the bondage of karma, but instead leads towards liberation. So, how we can do, Srila Prabhupada have explained in the purport that how the living entity gets entangled in the bondage of karma. And he has also explained karma and vikarma. And also he has mentioned the solution to get out of this bondage of karma. So he has mentioned here that the living entity is eternal by nature, like Sanatan. So due to his bondage in material existence, he has to change his body over and over again. So if one gets entangled, this is the result. Like he has to go through the bodily change over and over again, and this process is called transmigration of the soul, and also known as the karma bandhan, bondage by one's work, through which it gets like a body, new body again and again in this material world. That same process of transmigration is also explained in Bhagavad Gita 2.22, where the verse is Vasamsi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya Navani Grihanti Naro Parani Tatha Sarirani Vihya Jirnani Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. So, as a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, soul similarly also accepts new material bodies, giving up the old ones and useless ones. So, the living entity, so no one can live even a single moment without doing anything. So living entity has to work here for his livelihood, because there is that is the law of this material nature. And if he does not act according to this law, then he has to go through this transmigration, and the nature will bind him more and more into the cycle of this birth and death. And furthermore, Srila Prabhupada explains here uh, how does he get chance to free from the chains of the karma. So only human life, there is a guarantee. I mean, human life that guarantees the uh, process of coming out of the cycle of birth and death, only if you do the prescribed duties of the Vedic injunction. So he has explained like karma and vikarma. So according to this, like that are performed in terms of one prescribed duties, if mentioned in the revealed scriptures, if we do duties according to that which are revealed in scriptures, then they become karma. But if our actions that free only the actions that free one from the cycle of this vicious cycle of birth and death, they are called akarma. And the actions which are performed because of the misuse of the free will that has been given by the Lord to us and direct us to the lower form of life, those are called vikarma. So these are the three types of actions that which frees one from the bondage to karma is is actually preferred only by intelligent man, because intelligent man knows both good and bad work equally bind into this material miseries. So that work will not free them from the reactions of both good and bad work. So sometimes, like, we feel that okay, if we do like charitable work here in this material world, we will get like higher planetary positions. But even those planetary positions, after we achieve that, that are also temporary. They are also having this cycle of birth and death. And again, like, when your good work is completed over there, you have to fall down back to this material world. So even that is not good. So if a person is intelligent, that he would not even strive to do good karma, like by charitable causes or any temporary causes here in this material world, just to get like a higher birth, or just getting birth into the material planets, like higher material planets. So in the Bhagavad Gita 3.29 to 3.16, Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, have said that even one cannot attain the state of akarma without executing the prescribed duty mentioned in the Vedic literature. And the only prescribed duty for Kali Yuga is to chant the holy name of the God. That is the prescribed duty. So if we continue to do that in this Kali Yuga, probably we can achieve this akarma, and we have chances to go back to Godhead. And when he realizes like the living entity realizes the authority of the personality of Godhead, who is Vasudeva or Krishna, is to be understood that he has attained this state of positive knowledge. And only in this purified mode of nature, namely, so there are three modes of nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. He will not act, and he is not, and he is able to work on the basis of akarma, nishkarmya, also known as nishkarmya. And no one has to do anything more than render devotional service to the Lord. That's what Srila Prabhupada mentions here. So only devotional service. In order to achieve the akarma state, we have to just render devotional service to the Lord. And in Bhagavad Gita 2.40 also, Lord Krishna says that only the God-centered activities are valuable, that just a few of them can save a person from the greatest danger. Because that also not everybody can achieve, right? Bahunam janmanam ante gyanvan mam prapadyate. After so many lifetimes, like, person is able to get to that platform of devotional service, and those souls are also very rare. And also he has mentioned that the greatest danger of life is the danger of falling down again back to 84 lakh species. That is the greatest danger. There is no other danger in this material world other than falling into the pool of 84 lakh species. So if somehow or other a man misuses his spiritual opportunity, if he misuses his spiritual free will that he has been awarded by Lord in this human form of life, he will fall down into this pool of 84 lakh species. So in that case, he must be considered very unfortunate. So this human form of life is very, very valuable. The moment we understand the importance of this human life, we should engage ourselves in the loving devotional service of the Lord, and try to save ourselves from this danger that is been mentioned here. And Sri Isupnishad also advises like to exert our energy in the spirit of Isavashya, like being God-centric. So being engaged in such a way, even if we wish to live for many, many years, that is okay. But otherwise, a long life in itself has no value if we don't live a God-centric life. So like here the analogy of tree is given. So a tree lives for hundreds and hundreds of years. But is there any point? Like, there is no point to live like tree, or just breathe like a bellow, or just be getting children's like hogs and dogs, or eating like camels. So a humble God-centered life basically is more valuable than this hoax of life dedicated to godless socialism. And so these altruistic activities should be executed in spirit of Sri Isupnishad. Then they become a form of karma yoga, and that kind of activities are recommended in Bhagavad Gita, because then they can guarantee the protection to the living entity from the danger of sliding down into the pool of 84 lakh species. So, and even though that God-centered activities, they are half finished, but they are still good because they will guarantee at least the human form of life in the next birth, and in then that through that birth you can again strive to engage in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Yeah, Prabhuji Mataji, if you want to add something.
Thank you. Very nicely explained. Thank you very much. Anybody like to say anything or anything else?
I can sing one bhajan.
Okay.
Pasting. Mr. গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে পুলকা শরীরা হরি হরি বলিতে নয়ন বাবে নীরা और কাবে নিতাই চন্দের করুণা হইবে সংসারা বাসানা মোরা কবি তুচ্ছ হবে বিষয়া ছাড়িয়া কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মানা কবে হাম হেরাব শ্রী বৃন্দাবনা রূপার ঘুনাথ পদে होएबे आकुति कबे हम भोजाबो से जुगल प्रीति रूपार घुनाथा पदे रहो मोराशा प्रार्थना करो ए सदा नरोत्तम दासा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Translation. When will that opportune moment come to us, when there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's names? While chanting Hare Krishna, when will there be tears in the eyes? When will I obtain the mercy of Lord Nityananda Chandra? When by his mercy will the desire for material enjoyment become very insignificant? When the mind is completely purified, being freed from material anxieties and desires, then I shall be able to understand Vrindavan and the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, and then my spiritual life will be successful. When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. By their instruction, I shall be able to properly understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. My only aspiration is to attain the lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Narottam Das constantly prays to attain their lotus feet. So we should, these, as we were discussing Prahlad Maharaj's desires and pure devotees' desires, is just to advance in their absorption in their service to Krishna, and they would like to have these transcendental, Ashta Sattvika Vikar of shivering in the body and tears in the eyes, and that by default we are not attracted to anything of this material world. Everything of this material world seems insignificant compared to realizing love for Radha and Krishna. So we are seeking mercy, and we can pray that our desires for material enjoyment, they all vanish from our hearts. And when we don't have any other desires but to serve Radha and Krishna, so we will not have any anxieties also. Then we'll be able to see the real Vrindavan, where the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are still taking place. And we can do that by seeing from the eyes of the Shastra and all the books that the Goswamis have written. So as we read, so this Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, and others like the eightfold pastimes uh, also written by the Goswamis, we can understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And so, my only desire, and Narottam Das Thakur is saying that I want to attain the lotus feet of the six Goswamis. So, following in the footsteps of the great acharyas, association of advanced devotees, and need the spiritual strength to follow the instructions of the uh, guru and sadhus and acharyas. So we can pray for that as we chant Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
I can sing Krishna's to come from.
Yeah, I put it on here.
Sorry, I'm sorry. भजे व्रजैकमण्डनं समस्तपापखण्डनं स्वभक्तचित्तरञ्जनं सदैव नन्दनन्दनं सुपिच्छगुच्छमस्तकं सुनादवेणुहस्तकम् अनङ्गरङ्गसागरं नमामि कृष्णनागरम् मनोजगर्वमोचनं विशाललोललोचनं विधूतगोपशोचनं नमामि पद्यलोचनं करारविन्दभूधरं स्मितावलोकसुन्दरं महेन्द्रमानदारणं नमामि कृष्णवारणं कदम्बसूनकुण्डलं सुचारुगण्डमण्डलं व्रजाङ्गनेकवल्लभं नमामि कृष्णदुर्लभम् यशोदया समोदया सगोपया सनन्दया युतं सुखैकदायकं नमामि गोपनायकम् सदैव पादपङ्कजं मदीयमानसे निजं दधानमुत्तमालकं नमामि नन्दबालकम् समस्तदोषशोषणं समस्तलोकपोषणं समस्तगोपमानसं नमामि नन्दलालसं भुवो भरावतारकं भवाब्धिकर्णधारकं यशोमतीकिशोरकं नमामि चित्तचोरकम् दृगन्तकान्तभङ्गिन सदा सदालसङ्गिन दिने दिने नवं नवं नमामि नन्दसम्भवम् गुणाकरं सुखाकरं कृपाकरं कृपापरं सुरद्दिसन्निकन्दनं नमामि गोपनन्दनं नवीनगोपनागरं नवीनकेलिलम्पटं नमामि मेघसुन्दरं तटित्प्रभालसत्पटम् समस्तगोपनन्दनं हन्भुजैकमोदनं नमामि कुज्यमध्यगं प्रसन्नभानुशोभनम् निकामकामदायकं दृगन्धचारुसायकं रसालवेणुगायकं नमामि कुञ्जनायकम् विदग्धगोपिकामनु मनोज्ञतल्पशायिनं नमामि कुज्यकानने प्रवृद्धिवैपायनम् किशोरकान्तिरञ्जित दृगज्जन सुशोभितं गजेन्द्रमोक्षकारिणं नमामि श्रीविहारिणम् यदा तदा यथा तथा तथैव कृष्णसत्कथा मया सदैव गीयता तथा कृपा विधीयताम् प्रमाणिकाष्टकद्वयं जपत्यधित्ययं पुमान् भवेत् स नन्दनन्दने भवे भवे सुभक्तिमान् I can read quickly translation, bro. Eternally, I worship Lord Krishna, who is Nanda's son, who is Vraja's sole ornament, who breaks all sins into pieces, and who delights the devotee's heart. I offer my respectful obeisance to the hero, Lord Krishna, whose head is decorated with peacock feather, whose hand holds a melodious flute, and who is an ocean of Kamdeva's pastime. I offer my respectful obeisance to Lotus Eye Lord Krishna, who frees Kamdev of his pride, whose large eyes are very restless, who shakes away the Gopa's sadness. I offer my respectful obeisance to Dark Lord Krishna, whose lotus hand lifted Govardhan hill, whose smiling glance is charming, and who ripped Indra's pride into shreds. I offer my respectful obeisance to Lord Krishna, who is difficult to attain, who wears a kadamba flower earring, the circle of whose chicks is very charming, and who is only beloved of Braja's girls. I offer my respectful obeisance to Lord Krishna, who is playful cowherd boy, and who, in the company of Yashoda, Nanda, and the Gopa people, enjoys pastime that delight them all. Prabhu, is it? Do you mind that if you read all other rest of them? I don't know why Vedant is crying. So
Okay. Yeah.
I can, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is Nanda's small boy and who eternally places his kumkum anointed lotus feet in my heart. I offer my respectful obeisances to cheerful Lord Krishna, who dries up all faults, makes all worlds prosper, and stays in the thoughts of all the Gopa people. I offer my respectful obeisances to the milk thief Lord Krishna, who removed the earth's burden, who is the captain of the ship to cross the ocean of birth and death, and who is Yashoda's teenage son. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is Nanda's son, who casts crooked glances from the corners of his eyes, who always stays with the gopis, and who day after day enjoys newer and newer pastimes. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is a jewel mine of transcendental qualities, a jewel mine of transcendental bliss, a jewel mine of mercy, who defeats the demigod's enemies, and who delights the cowherd people. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is a young hero of the cowherd people, who is a playful young rake, who is handsome and dark like a monsoon cloud, and whose yellow garments glisten like lightning. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who delights all the cowherd people, who charms the devotees' lotus hearts, who stays in the forest groves, and who is splendid like a glistening sun. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who fulfills all desires, whose sidelong glances are charming arrows, whose flute music is nectar, and who is the amorous hero of the forest groves. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who reclines on the charming couch of the wise gopis' hearts and who drank up a forest fire in Munjatavi forest. I pray that whenever and however I sing his glories, Lord Krishna will be merciful to me. I pray that whoever reads or recites these 8 prayers will be fervently devoted to Nanda's son, devoted birth after birth. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. It's all about Lord Krishna's characteristics and pastimes. So, anything on this song? This is by Vishnu Adi Shankaracharya. Okay. So, thank you. So, we have some time. We can read. Should we continue with the prayers of Prahlad, or we can read about Lord Chaitanya? Since Gaur Purnima is coming up, we can see we were reading about this Prakashananda Saraswati's deliverance. So go to there and see what it says. One's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, activities in terms of that relationship, and the ultimate goal of life. What are the 3 things described in the Vedanta Sutra? What are they called? Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. Sambandh. Sambandh means what? In Hindi we say Sambandh. Sambandh means relationship. So, like, let's say before marriage, there is no relationship between the families, right? Then the relationship is established between the husband and wife. So then there is Abhideya. What is that? In relationship there is service. So before the Sambandh was established, there was no service. But after that, there is relationship and there is service to everybody like that in the family, and then of course the prayojan. Prayojan can be, what can be said about the prayojan? Prayojan is the fruit of that relationship. So generally the fruit of that relationship is what? Nobody is saying anything. There is love that develops, right? When there is service, then there is love and affection that develops. So similarly, with Krishna, there is sambandha gyan, means the knowledge of our, we are establishing a sambandh, we come to know, oh, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, I'm servant of Krishna. Then Krishna is so kind and all these things, so many things. And then we serve the Lord, and this, that is abhideya. And the prayojan is the fruit. The fruit is love of God. So like that. I give a example from this world because that's all we can relate to easily. So everyone who actually, okay, so he spoke about sambandha, abhideya and prayojan, which are the three things described. When all the Mayavadi sannyasis thus heard the explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the basis of sambandha, abhideya and prayojan, they spoke very humbly. So they became very humble, knowing that Lord Chaitanya has so much knowledge and so much wisdom. Dear sir, your Vedic knowledge personified and are directly Narayan himself. Kindly excuse us for the offenses we previously committed by criticizing you. Does that remind of any devotee who says like that? Please forgive me for all the offenses committed by you, now that I know your position. Who says like that? In the Bhagavad Gita, who says like that? Arjuna says like that, right? Okay, so from that moment, when the Mayavadi sannyasis heard the explanation of Vedanta Sutra from the Lord, their minds changed. And on the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too chanted Krishna, Krishna always. So they became, from Mayavadis, they became devotees and they were chanting the name of Krishna, Krishna. Thus Lord Chaitanya excused all the offenses of Mayavadi sannyasis and very mercifully blessed them with Krishna Nam. After this, all the sannyasis took the Lord into their midst, and thus they all took their meal together. After taking lunch among the Mayavadi sannyasis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaur Sundar, returned to his residence. So they all had their meal together, they were convinced like that. So thus the Lord performs his wonderful pastimes. Okay. Hearing the arguments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seeing his victory, Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra and Sanatan Goswami were all extremely pleased. So the devotees are very pleased that bhakti is flourishing. Many Mayavadi sannyasis of Varanasi came to see the Lord after this incident, and the entire city praised him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the city of Varanasi, and all of its people were very thankful. So everybody was very appreciative of Mahaprabhu. The crowd at the door of his residence was so great that it numbered hundreds of thousands. When the Lord went to visit the temple of Vishveshwar, hundreds of thousands of people assembled to see him. Whenever Lord Chaitanya went to the bank of Ganges to take his bath, big crowds of many hundreds of thousand people assembled there. Whenever the crowds were too great, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood up, raised his hands and chanted, Hari, Hari, to which all the people responded, filling both the land and sky with the vibration. After thus delivering the people in general, the Lord desired to leave Varanasi After instructing Sri Sanatana Goswami, he sent him towards Vrindavan. Because the city of Varanasi was always full of tumultuous crowds, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after sending Sanatana to Vrindavan, returned to Jagannath Puri. I have here given a brief account of these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, but later I shall describe them in an extensive way. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the Panchatattva distributed the holy name of the Lord to invoke love of Godhead throughout the universe, and thus the entire universe was thankful. Lord Chaitanya dispatched the two generals, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, to Vrindavan to preach the Bhakti cult. As Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were sent towards Mathura, so Nityananda Prabhu was sent to Bengal to preach extensively the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to South India and he broadcast the holy name of Lord Krishna in every village and town. Thus the Lord went to the southernmost tip of the Indian peninsula known as Setubandh. That's the bridge where I think Cape Comorin. Everywhere he distributed the Bhakti cult and love of Krishna, and in this way he delivered everyone. I have thus explained the truth of the Panchatattva. One who hears this explanation increases in knowledge of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While chanting the Panchatattva mantra, Mahamantra, one must chant the names of Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar and Srivas with their many devotees. This is the process. So we have Sri Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. So that's many devotees. I again and again offer obeisances unto the Panchatattva. Thus I think I'll be able to describe something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Okay, so these are some pastimes of Mahaprabhu, and I can read some more pastimes of Mahaprabhu. So, go till 8:30. Let me see the document that has all the. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, we'll see the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jumping into the sea. We'll read that pastime. It is in the Antya Leela 18th chapter. So let me see, bring this up. CC Antya 18. Of 1 to 121. Rescuing the Lord from the sea. So we'll read the verses. In the brilliant autumn moonlight, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mistook the sea for the river Yamuna. So, the sea at Jagannath Puri, which is the Bay of Bengal. Mahaprabhu lived in Puri and he saw the sea and he thought it is Yamuna. Greatly afflicted by separation from Krishna, he ran and dove into the sea and remained unconscious in the water the entire night. In the morning, he was found by his personal devotees. May that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, protect us by his transcendental pastimes. So he is he is feeling separation from Radharani, and he in Yamuna, Krishna and the gopis had many pastimes. So in the mood of like separation, I think Krishna or Radharani feeling separation from Krishna, or you can say Krishna feeling separation from Radharani, whatever. He went inside the Yamuna, I mean the ocean. While thus living at Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu floated all day and night in an ocean of separation from Krishna. He was experiencing viraha. This is like Krishna living Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing that. During a night of the autumn season, when a full moon brightened everything, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered all night long with his devotees. So on the Purnima night, Mahaprabhu is moving about with his devotees. He walked from garden to garden, seeing the pastimes of Lord Krishna and hearing and reciting the songs and verses concerning Ras Leela. He sang and danced in ecstatic love and sometimes imitated the Ras dance in emotional ecstasy. He sometimes ran here and there in the madness of ecstasy and sometimes fell and rolled on the ground. Sometimes he became completely unconscious. When he heard Swarup Damodar recite a verse concerning Ras Leela, or he himself recited one, he would personally explain it as he had previously done. So Swarup Damodar is who in Krishna Leela? Swarup Damodar is who is he? Swarup Damodar in Krishna Leela is, anybody knows?
Vedant or Madhuman? I don't know.
No, Swarup Damodar is Lalita Sakhi. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in mood of Radharani. So he has his two companions, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, who is Vishakha. So Radharani with the two gopis, Lalita and Vishakha. So Lalita would sometimes, she would recite verses to Radharani. When Radharani was feeling separation, she would tell something. So here there is some Ras Leela pastime Swarup Damodar was reciting. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recited one, and then he was explaining. In this we explain the meaning of all verses concerning the Ras Leela. Sometimes he would be very sad and sometimes very happy. Like Prahlad Maharaj, sometimes he would cry and sometimes he would laugh. He would cry when he felt separation from Krishna, and he would laugh when he felt presence of Krishna. So to explain fully all these verses and all transformations that took place in Lord's body would require a very large volume. So as not to increase the size of the book, I have not written about all Lord's pastimes, for he performed that every moment of every day for 12 years. As I have previously indicated, I am describing the mad speeches and bodily transformations of the Lord only in brief. If Ananta, with his 1000 hoods, tried to describe even one day's pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would find them impossible to describe fully. If Ganesha, Lord Shiva's son and the expert scribe of the demigods, tried for millions of millenniums to fully describe one day of Lord's pastimes, he would be unable to find their limit. Even Lord Krishna is struck with wonder at seeing transformations of ecstasy in his devotees. If Krishna himself cannot estimate the limitations of such emotions, how could others? So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna's pastimes are unlimited, and they are unable to describe. Ananta is not able to describe like that, he's saying. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, how can I write everything? It will become too voluminous, this whole book. So as to not, I have not written about, for he performed them every moment, for every day. Okay, so Krishna himself cannot fully understand the conditions, the mode of progress, the happiness and unhappiness, the mode of ecstatic love of his devotees. He therefore accepts the role of a devotee to taste these emotions fully. Ecstatic love of Krishna makes Krishna and his devotees dance, and it also dances personally. In this way, all three dance together in one place. One who wants to describe the transformations of ecstatic love of Krishna is like a dwarf trying to catch the moon in the sky. As the wind can carry away but a drop of water in the ocean, a living entity can only touch only a particle of ocean of love of Krishna. Endless waves rise moment after moment in that ocean of love. How could any insignificant living entity estimate their limits? Only a person on the level of Swarup Damodar Goswami can fully know what Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tastes in his love for Krishna. When an ordinary living entity describes the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he purifies himself by touching one drop of that great ocean. Thus all the verses about the Ras Lila dance were recited. Then finally, the verse concerning the pastimes in the water was recited. So like that, it's 8:30, but we will see from verse 25 onwards tomorrow how Lord Chaitanya goes into the ocean. We'll see. So thank you very much for joining today.